Welcome to the Make More Money as a Dietitian podcast, where we talk about all things money, mindset, and marketing so your nutrition business can thrive and you can make a bigger impact in the marketplace. I am your host, Christine Diane, registered dietitian and money mindset expert. Let's get started with today's episode. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Make More Money as a Dietitian. You guys, it's National Nutrition Month, and we have all of the things happening this month as nutrition professionals, including RDN Day and just so much fun in March, right? So I thought it would be such a great time to highlight a few more RDs who are doing fabulous things. Are you ready? Are you here for all of the things in regards to our colleagues who are doing great things in the profession and for the people in their communities? Today, I have another great interview for you, and it's with Lisa Andrews. She's the owner of Sound Bites Nutrition in Ohio. And you guys, Lisa has a very unique way of serving her community. I mean, she does some other things, but the most unique thing that she does is that she has merch, y'all. She has merch with some really fun food puns, ranging from coffee mugs, t-shirts, tote bags. If I'm remembering correctly, she might even have some onesies for the little babies too. You guys, did you know that you can make more money as a dietitian doing just about anything that you want? That you don't have to stay in a proverbial box of any sort? That you can use your unique gifts and talents to make money as a dietitian? Well, I'm here to tell you that you're going to enjoy this interview with Lisa Andrews of Sound Bites Nutrition. And she's going to talk to us about how she created these food pun items. I think they're amazing. She actually gifted me recently a coffee mug, not knowing that I am totally obsessed with coffee mugs. And I swear to you guys, I feel like I need a whole new kitchen for all of the coffee mugs that I currently own. So anyway, let's go ahead and get on with this interview with Lisa Andrews of Sound Bites Nutrition and learn how she's making money as a dietitian with her unique gift of creating food pun items, or food pun merch, we should call it. Let's check it out. All right, here we are again for another episode of the Make More Money as a Dietitian podcast. I have another guest today, you guys, and we were just chatting it up right before I hit record, and I think you're going to enjoy this episode that I have for you with Lisa Andrews. I'm going to let her tell you more about who she is, what she does, and you know what I'm going to say next, right? All of the things. So welcome to the podcast, Lisa.
Thank you, Christine.
Let's let everyone know what you do and where you're from and all of the things, as I say.
All right, all the things. Well, my business is Sound Bites Nutrition, and I have been we've been the owner since 2008. I started off with a business partner, and we parted ways about 5 years in, just because I just wasn't feeling it, and it was, I just felt like I was doing most of the heavy lifting, and it was just time for me to be on my own. Mm-hmm. Previously, I worked as a clinical dietitian for the VA for way too long, and that anybody should stay at any job ever. So I was there for 23 and a half years.
Wow, Lisa. Good golly.
I know. And where's my gold watch, right? But I always had one foot out the door. And I think what that told me about myself when I finally left was, I just need more variety in my work. And while I became really good at illness, I really wanted to focus on wellness. I really wanted to help people get better, or, prevent getting sick or whatever it was, versus seeing people, on their deathbed for for so many months because I worked in intensive care. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of my backstory. Right now, I swear things change constantly for me. And I think this is just the nature of my business. I'll think, okay, I'm going to do individual counseling, and I'll be rolling along with that for a while. And I've found that while I enjoy the relationships with people, sometimes they just wear me the hell out. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've had some really good opportunities in different doctors' offices. And getting referrals from different doctors after working in a teaching hospital, but it's not really my love, and I'm almost to the point when I get an email or a call, and this sounds terrible, sometimes I feel almost annoyed. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's really awful. And
Mm-mm.
I suppose it depends on the person. If it's somebody that I feel really needs some help, like I mean, this person I talked to yesterday was like 19 different diagnoses and almost on dialysis. And um, that I can help because I get the clinical nitty-gritty.
Mm-hmm.
But 75 years old, I want to lose 5 pounds to look good in a bathing suit. I can't help that. I can't, I don't want to go there. I don't want somebody focusing on their weight
Oh
at that point in
goodness.
their life. And so,
Yes.
um, but those are the types of referrals I'll get, and they'll be all over the place. So, what I've discovered is I just really like to write. I really like words. I'm a word
Hey.
nerd.
Yes, you
Um,
are. Tell everybody what you do primarily in Sound Bites Nutrition.
So primarily, I guess at this point, I would say I'm trying to gain more freelance writing.
Mhm.
Um, and I designed a line of food pun t-shirts probably about 3 years ago,
Yeah.
because I was in I was in Old Navy and saw a really sad shirt that just said breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it was all junk food. And I thought, well, well, that's cute, and it's not like I don't eat pizza or donuts or tacos. I just wasn't feeling it. And so
Mhm.
I just started thinking, what would I wear? What would I want to wear? What would other dietitians wear? What would chefs
Mm.
wear? What would people find amusing that would start a conversation about food that would be a little bit more cerebral and also not offensive? So,
Yeah.
and I won't name this company because they were popular for a while, but I couldn't wear some of the stuff that they had put out. And that also got me thinking. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't want to name them because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but a sort of, not really a pun company, but there was a foodie-ish apparel company
Mm.
probably within the past year or so, that was popular at Fancy and other places.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. I know what you're referring
Yeah,
to. Yeah, because some of it was a little explicit and
yeah,
all of the things as I say, but I mean,
right,
I can have a potty mouth at times too, and I've purchased a couple of their things, but I
yeah,
certainly don't find myself wanting to like advertise on my body
right,
some things that they would say because that's just not me.
exactly,
But it was definitely popular
right.
with some.
Yeah, and it was cute, and I think they were successful, but at the same time, it was just not my personal brand of silliness. And
Mhm.
that was the
Mhm.
thing. I was like, well, I think that's funny, but I couldn't wear it around my teenage daughters. I couldn't wear it to my mother-in-law's without her looking at me like, why are you wearing that?
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so that's kind of how it began, I guess, was I
Yeah, I
wanted
love
to,
it.
wear something fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's something fun and a little more diluted and appropriate for the masses.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is the thing that I want to highlight about you and your business, the leg of the business that most of us are familiar with who um, network with you online is the food pun teas and tote bags and all of these things. What I find to be very, very wonderful about your items. I was going to say articles of clothing, but they're not all articles of clothing. But your items is that you are actually using your gift of being able to write certain words and bring them together in a fun way. And I want everyone who's listening to understand and embrace their uniqueness. Understand that you can bring your unique gifts into the work that you do. And it sounds to me, Lisa, like you saw a need and you filled it, which is how most businesses are formed. Just
Yeah.
like my business, I saw a huge gap. Um, and I decided that I wanted to fill it. There was no one out there in our profession really teaching mindset in a way that would resonate with registered dietitians in particular. And so I'm here to fill the gap. I'm also here to lead the charge. And so I know that your gift of writing, and whether you want to bring it even further into freelance writing for companies or other blogs or what have you, I know your gift of writing will serve you and continue to serve you well. Do you have any future vision for your items that you are producing right now? The food
So
pun teas and totes.
yeah, so the past year I've been um, donating part of the proceeds to food insecurity issues in Cincinnati. So
Mm-hmm.
I worked with a what am I looking for? Graphic designer to give me a new logo. So the puns themselves have the shop is called Let Us Beat Hunger. And
Mm,
so part of the proceeds go back to hunger related issues in Cincinnati, which is
mm-hmm.
where I live. And again, they're meant to kind of start a conversation about food. So when somebody sees one that says this is the worst, or don't despair, or
Mm-hmm.
it'll get bitter, I mean, they're just stupid. I mean, and they're a little silly, but at the same time, they're supposed to just make somebody smile. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
point is to just kind of bring a little humor around our food because, I mean, that was the other thing I kept thinking of. I mentioned earlier getting these referrals all the time for weight loss. And, I feel like society's just kind of taken the joy out of eating. so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this is part of my way to just flip the finger and be like, come on, like lighten up already. Like let's have a little levity about it.
Yeah.
Um, not that hunger or food insecurity is funny, but I wanted to channel part of the proceeds back to something in a way to give back.
Yeah, yeah. And, we were talking before we hit record about how you recently donated a basket of your items to Fancy this year. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that kind of unfolded in a way that you were like really surprised, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate to attend Fancy um, on I shouldn't say on someone else's dime because it was because I served as president of the state last year.
Right.
And anytime I've gone to Fancy, I value the relationships that I've built from meeting people there. Like we talked about relationships, and that's sort of what makes me tick is people. So talking to people, meeting people, whatnot. So this year when I couldn't attend, and I mean I could have, but the timing of it wasn't great. I teach a class on Fridays. Um, Weekends are usually hectic with a sport with my kids or something. So I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to sit in front of my computer for that long, but I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do something and be involved in some way. So I was going to do the virtual marketplace. It was really expensive. And I thought, well, um, maybe I'll put together a basket and that'll get some eyes on my stuff. And it'll also be a way to give back. So to my surprise, the basket sold for $350 and it
Yeah.
was it was about $150 worth of stuff.
That's
So
awesome.
so I was pretty pleased with that's going to go back into, the foundation and scholarships for people that need it. So
Yeah.
um so I'm happy that happened.
Yeah, and it really is a true testament to how much people really love your items, Lisa. So that's really good. For those of you out there, just remember Lisa's business is called Sound Bites, Bites Nutrition. Am I correct in the
Yes.
Bites?
Hmm.
Yeah, so Sound Bites Nutrition. I want you to take a look at that website, soundbitesnutrition.com, and head on over there and see, take a look at some of Lisa's really, really amazing items. Grab something for yourself or loved ones. They are so fun. They really are such fun items to wear and to just bring a smile to someone's face during this time, the time that we're in and all of the things people are always saying, this uncertain time and all of that. And
Exactly.
in my mind, I'm like, aren't all times uncertain, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, head on over to soundbitesnutrition.com and check out those items um, while we're talking about it and see if you can grab something for yourself or a loved one. Now, Lisa, I would love for you to talk with me a little bit about our profession and money issues, because this is what we're here to talk about, and um, getting paid as a dietitian. So, you and I both know that RDs don't really get paid as much as other allied health professionals.
Sure.
Um, and why do you think that is for the most part? I'd love to hear your perspective or your thoughts on that.
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know if we're just not taught in the undergraduate level on how to negotiate. I think that's part of it.
Hmm.
Um, I think part of it is, and this sounds sexist, but we're a primarily female dominated field. And
Mm,
there's always sort of sadly been this wage gap. And I think we're just kind of bludgeoned over the head to just expect that. And it's not right.
mhm,
Um, and the other thing is, we just don't value our individuality. I think there's so much comparison of, oh, I'm, this person's in business too, and they're better than me and they deserve more, or whatever that is. And what I have kind of found is that, like you said before, we're all just unique. So when I see other dietitians in business, I kind of want to know what they do so that I can refer people
mm,
because, you know,
yeah,
I I can't do everything, and my gifts are not the same as somebody else's. And
mhm, mhm,
um, I, I don't think we do a good service to somebody by taking every patient on when we're not the specialist for that. And so I
yeah,
think when we are, whatever it is, the specialist for something, we should ask for a higher fee, whether it's through our experience, our network, whatever we can bring to the table.
mhm,
Um, but I think
yeah.
we're just poor negotiators.
Yeah, I think that really sums it up, that we are poor negotiators because, I mean, we can say that it's because we didn't learn that in school or whatever, but I think that's just a layered excuse on top
Sure,
of not wanting to learn how to do it. Like,
sure,
for some, right? Some just will say, "Well, we didn't learn how to do this in school, so," and then they'll
yeah,
just stop. They'll just stop. They'll just be like, "So."
right.
And it's
So
like,
I don't ever have to learn it.
right. Or, so why isn't the academy gonna do something about this? Like,
Right,
really, y'all,
right,
everyone who's listening, you already know how I feel about that. But I also believe that that's what continuing education is for.
sure,
This profession teaches you the baseline skills that you need to get out there and become an entry level dietitian. And in order to elevate your career as a dietitian, it's
mhm,
up to you to do the continuing education.
yeah,
So if you feel like you're lacking in certain areas of building a private practice, it's your personal responsibility to get out there
yeah,
and do the continuing education and really, like, take on what you need, invest in yourself with the things
right,
that you need to build your career as a dietitian, instead of waiting and blaming and
yeah,
being so frustrated. Like, you're required to have 75 hours of continuing education credits every 5 years. So I don't understand what the complaint is
yeah,
about not being educated on the business end of things.
yeah,
That to me, it's kind of like, yeah, okay. And so what are you going to
right,
do about it?
right,
So
right.
what keeps you inspired, Lisa, to keep going as an RD entrepreneur with your the items that you create and other things that maybe you want to do as a freelance writer?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Is just you have to dive in and do new skills. So what keeps me inspired is that I think I have ADHD, to be honest. I mean, I'm like, oh, shiny objects. I mean, I see different opportunities as a way to grow. So when one of the reasons that I had a foot out of the door at the VA for so long, and I mean like 15 years, the last 15 years of my career, I was probably doing two or three other jobs at the same time I was there. I was there part-time for a good while. But I
Mm-hmm.
did that in order to learn new skills. Otherwise, I knew I would be pigeonholed as a
Mm.
clinical dietitian for my entire career. So I took a job as a community dietitian and learned some writing and some cooking demo skills. Um, I took on a position as an adjunct instructor to learn some teaching skills. So I feel like I'm this pile of Legos, I just kind of like
Mm.
put a couple on. This one doesn't fit as much anymore. Let me take it off and rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what kind of keeps me going is when something doesn't work out, and that's often true in your life, whatever it is. Um, you got to shift gears. So, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you how many like disappointments I've had with just different things, whether it was, I mean, I went to graduate school because I had a failed engagement. So I was like, all right, now what do I do with my life? And I was like, all right,
Yeah,
perfect time to go to graduate school. I mean, I would
I
have
hear
done it
you.
at some point anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what sort of keeps me ticking is something gets canceled. I need to move on. I need to figure out another way to keep rolling. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I get inspired by fear, you know?
No, I think that you just want to keep the ball going. That's
Yeah.
all, really. And maybe being stagnant is something that isn't a part of your DNA. You just want to keep the ball rolling, stay lively, keep it moving forward. And I think that's a wonderful trait to have. Now, were you doing anything? Did you, or should I say, did you come straight out of college, or should I say straight out of high school, knowing that you wanted to be a dietitian, or what was your path to this field from the
Yeah.
start?
So I would say I was interested in health in high school,
Mhm.
suffered through an eating disorder in high
Mm,
school and
mhm.
part of college, and that got my interest in nutrition. My dad was diabetic, mom was constantly dieting. And honestly, when I recovered, I thought, I'm not going to be interested in this anymore. Isn't that
Mm,
terrible?
mhm.
But there's always been this part of me that did not want to work with eating disorders just because it hit too hard and it would make me anxious and angry, and I didn't want to deal with that. And I think that's
Mhm.
part of my defense is to be kind of silly. And I mean, I've always been pretty silly anyway, but to just not focus on restriction so much. I just needed to get out of that,
Yeah.
to get out of that mindset.
I
Um, I did really love the clinical piece I mean, working in clinical nutrition. I loved being in a teaching hospital. That really kept me going for a long time, but then it just became monotonous and just needed to do something else.
I love that you just used the word that I was going to lead into the next question or talk with you in regards to your way of being in your business, is that it appears to me, just by listening to what you say, that monotony for you is just not happening. Like, that is not the thing for Lisa.
Yeah,
Like, that is boredom. But what's really
yeah,
interesting is that you stayed in clinical for that long. I'm just like, oh my God, you're a rock star just for that alone, you know? And in ICU, which can be a bit, um, what's the word that I want to use? It can be a little depressing sometimes, I
Oh,
would
yeah,
think.
sure. Yeah,
I mean, I did PRN and ICU, and although it was somewhat depressing, I actually wouldn't change that for anything. If I had to
sure.
be in clinical for 20 something years, put me in ICU because I
Yeah,
need the challenge.
right.
It really, you know what I mean? It's like the challenge of these critically ill patients and adjusting things and working with the physicians and the pharmacists and all of that is probably what kept you there for that long, I would think. I used to
Yeah,
love clinical, actually. That was one
yeah.
of my favorites.
Did you work in it for a while?
I was in clinical in different, variations of all the different jobs I've had, yes.
Mhm. Yeah,
But I mean, I went to school initially to become a doctor, so I naturally,
yeah.
gravitated towards clinical in the beginning, and I need that challenge with my brain because like you, monotony just kills me. I cannot stand
Mhm.
doing the same thing every single day in and
Yeah,
out. So
right.
with ICU, we're dealing with something new almost every day. And I really love that about
Yeah,
that clinical aspect of ICU was
yeah.
amazing. So for
And that's
you,
probably what kept me there for a long time, was just the challenge of really
yeah.
sick people, and then having opportunities to develop projects and protocols and systems to make things better for the patients. So
Mm,
that was kind of what kept me going for a good while anyway.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear like what your final thoughts are that you want to share with the listeners in regards to how they can begin to bring more of themselves into their work because I believe that is your uniqueness, that you bring more of yourself into Sound Bites Nutrition. And that's also probably why, like, when you're getting the referrals for the regular traditional stuff, that kind of turns you off because you need something that's going to like lively up yourself, as
Sure.
Bob Marley used to say.
Yeah.
Lively up yourself.
Right.
So what are your, if you could just give like one tip to our listeners about how they can bring more uniqueness into their work, what would you suggest?
I would pay attention to your gut, like pay attention to how you feel in the moment of when you're doing something. Like, does what you do bring you joy, or does it bring you disappointment and sadness and dread? I think that's, one thing where, we all try to sort of fit into this mold of what we're supposed to be doing, or how we're supposed to be, or how much, even, I know this is a money podcast, but even how much money we're supposed to make. And I remember, when I told my husband I was going to leave the VA, he was like, you're taking like a $50,000 pay cut. And I said, I know, but like my sanity is worth it. And we'll still be able to save money. I'll be a happier person. And I think that was, where, the rubber hit the road. It was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
what makes you happy? And that's what you
Mm.
kind of have to follow. Cause I think if you follow what makes you happy, the money will come with it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I just got chills all through my legs. You're seriously, you're absolutely right. When we follow the joy, I believe, um, that's when we can bring passion into the joy and we can bring perseverance into the joy. And that's how you begin the ball rolling of doing what you love and making good money doing it. I recently had a client who told me, we were talking, I believe, yesterday. She told me that I was an excellent salesperson. And I was like, no, I am not. And she said, yes, you are, because you sold me to work with you one on one to pay XYZ. I said, honey, no, I didn't sell you anything.
Oh,
What I did was I held space for you to see what is possible for yourself. And
mm,
I'm passionate about this work.
yeah.
And when you're passionate about what you do, you can believe in not only the work that you do, but the people who come in to do
Mhm.
the work through you, you see what is possible for them and you can like just get them to feel just as passionate as you. And so I really think it's so important that we bring that passion and joy into our work and don't feel like we are just pushing paperwork every day. Because if you're feeling like that, you really need to reevaluate what you're doing and how you're going about doing it and bring more of you into your work every day.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think that comes with getting, I don't know, getting more seasoned, getting burned, whatever it is, you just you just recognize that life's too short not to have fun when you're working. You gotta
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
you gotta enjoy it, you gotta like it.
Yeah, you do. You have to more than like it if you
Yeah.
ask me. And I think that with what you do in Sound Bites Nutrition, it shows that you really love your line of items, your products, and I'm wishing you all the best with getting that out there to the masses. I think it's so important. And once again, everyone, go over to soundbitesnutrition.com and check out Lisa's lineup of items. They would make wonderful holiday gifts. Okay. Hello. I'm giving Lisa a plug over here. Y'all better
Yeah.
go over there and get some of Lisa's stuff. Okay. What the heck? All right, you guys. That is it. I hope this has been an inspiration for you today to bring more of you into your work, because sometimes when it's not working out in your business, in your private practice, what is missing is you. It's not always about the marketing and the ads and the funnels and all of the things. You may be the thing that is missing. And once you bring that in, everything will fall in place. All right, my friends, have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you next week on another episode of Make More Money as a Dietitian. Bye.
Thank you, Christine.
You're very welcome. Hey, if you want to learn more about how you can make more money as a dietitian, I want you to check out my newest signature program, Embody Academy. All you have to do is head on over to moneymindsetdietitian.com/embody-academy. Again, that's moneymindsetdietitian.com/embody-academy, and click on the Learn More button and get signed up to join us today. I can't wait to see your name on the roster so that I can help you learn how to make more money as a dietitian.